And for radio, I have to make sure that the story still comes through just from audio. So do you find that you have to adjust a little bit just to make sure that you deliver the same quality, high-quality product for each of those mediums?
Absolutely. Well, just to talk a little bit about me kind of doing the web series, that was a big undertaking and something that I had never quite done before, because I directed it, I edited it, and then I'm playing two roles where I'm playing like the professor as well as the Brobot, the original kind of hip hop android. And so me bouncing back and forth like that was in addition to all that, just so people want to kind of understand the style of what the web series is, it's part kind of like silent film, part music video. So it's really kind of like a Buster Keaton meets Busta Rhymes kind of vibe to it, So it was a lot of it was very physical. So for me to have to do, it was, we shot it in 14 days. So it was physically demanding in ways that, I hadn't done in a really long time. And then the other thing I'll just say about what's been cool, at least for me, in terms of making the music and editing the series, that kind of stuff is really interesting, because you're really, you're in your room kind of editing it and putting it together and mixing it and stuff like that. And so I kind of enjoyed that process of being in the lab and kind of working on your own stuff in a way that I hadn't really had with live performance, other than, kind of rehearsing stuff on your own. But to really kind of be in the trenches there, and you're kind of like your cave working on something, I think was a really cool experience in terms of editing and mixing and creating the album and stuff like that. So that ended up being an extension that I really started to enjoy as an artist.
Wow, well that's good. That's a very interesting thing, because I find I've heard the opposite. Those who are used to doing live performances like you on television, that editing piece, which to me is very crucial in making sure the story gets told the way you want, they don't enjoy that being alone because they're so used to the energy of people being around them. So that's really good. That means, you're a very complex man. I can tell. So we're going to take a moment. We're going to take a musical break. And we're going to listen. I don't know if this is not music. I'm sorry. I don't know if this is actually a musical piece or not, because I haven't heard this one. We're going to take a moment and listen to one of your pieces, Superior Nutrients. Would you like to introduce that for us?
Oh, if it's Superior Nutrients, then yeah, it is. It should be a song. Yeah, it's I think it's off of the. It's like the second. Well, it's the second song on the album, and it's also the second episode of the series. And ultimately, it's about Brobot kind of learning to eat for the first time. So what you'll be hearing are a lot of kind of metaphors about eating, and I'll just leave it there.
I know it's awesome. I haven't heard this one, so everybody, thank you for listening to Master Griot Radio. Right now, we are having the dialogue around creative clash, and stand by and listen to Superior Nutrients, and we'll be right back.
Bang! He stares in the eyes of the man who despises him.
And today, this is my real mother. I said when I came out the womb, my little black sis was raised in the air like butter. And she was proud, because I was going to take after her, not giving it to them.
Welcome to Flight 3D. This is your captain speaking. We ask that you please note the emergency exits and safety signs in the event our journey becomes just too deep.
Alright, we're going to get into every shit I like. Poetry is powerful, right? We are going to war. Meet me at the back door to get your gun. I got M3, M9, M15, M16.
Super nigga can't put a basketball down. He leave tall super niggas in a single bound. Super nigga ain't got no degrees. He ain't got no time for that. Street corner, crack houses, projects, his natural habitat. Super nigga got super strength, speed, and agility. So it's understandable when the cops beat him down to the best of their ability. Super nigga had no supervision. Instead he had super between 17 and 25 super inches, used to satisfy them super sisters.
Will they clone little black girls who won't die but fight? Will they clone little black girls who supplement stamina for endless struggles to write?
Superior, of higher rank, quality, or importance. Nutrients, a substance that plants, animals, and people need to live and grow. Let's start with the chorus, shall we?
Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. Love and respect, yeah, you know that's real yummy. Superior nutrients in my belly. Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. And like a psychedelic, like a Teletubby. Superior nutrients in my belly.
Feed me that good lovin'. Yeah. Feed me the music that keeps the party jumping. Okay. Keeps the speakers bumping, the eardrums thumping, the heartbeats pumping. More than a little something, something. Feed me that wisdom, give me some knowledge, politics. Shirley Chisholm, no divisions, no schisms, new living, new decisions, nothing but net. Swoosh, Scottie Pippen. Leave me a win and I'll spit it, I win again and again with my pad and my pen. The mic is my friend with the verses I send. Bonafide champion, I don't have to pretend. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10. Feed me some melodies, so when the ego goes crazy, I can pull a Dick Tracy. Knock it in the next week, or better yet last week, cause talking out the side of your mouth makes you look weak. Speak when it's time to speak. Feed me that swag with a whole lot of class, a tablespoon full of jazz, some hip-hop for you. A pinch of rock and roll, Johnny Cash, sipping on fine wine. I walk the line. Throw your hands in the air, don't be scared. Yo, remind me again, how does the chorus go? Oh, swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. Love and respect, yeah, you know that's real yummy. Superior nutrients in my belly. Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. And like a psychedelic, like a Teletubby. Superior nutrients in my belly. Feed me the truth and I spit it to the youth to take their head out they noose. Brother gems like a golden goose, not that Kool-Aid juice. Oh yeah, cause I got the juice like Bruce to make my enemies yell truce. Feed me that power so I can devour every coward that steps in my way. Place the flower on his grave and take a nice hot shower while laughing in my tower. Ha 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 ha. Feed me that stamina, negative rapper ain't a fan of you. Sometimes I wanna scream and manhandle you, but head you like a samurai, but I can't you. But shining my light like the flash off my camera. Feed me, Seymour, feed me. I'm hungry. Yo, I got the munchies.
Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. Love and respect, yeah, you know that's real yummy. Superior nutrients in my belly. Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. And like a psychedelic, like a Teletubby. Superior nutrients in my belly. Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. Love and respect, yeah, you know that's real yummy. Superior nutrients in my belly. Swallow my pride, it grows roots inside. Delicious and nutritious when it gets in my tummy. And like a psychedelic, like a Teletubby. Superior nutrients in my belly.
Bionic Boom Bap.
I love it, I love it, I love it. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Master Griot as we discuss the Clash of the Creatives. And we have a very special guest on the line. He is the creator of Brobot Johnson. And you want to check him out. The website is brobotjohnson.com. And he does so many things. He's an actor. He's a teacher. He's a poet. He has a band which sounds phenomenal as well. And there's no other than Darian Dauchan is with us tonight. And he's just letting us know about this transmedia thing and mixing all of these things, these various we talked about earlier before the break, and I'm sorry, you just listened to the second track. Sorry, I'm losing my voice here. That was right before coming into this moment. That was Brobot. I like to call him Brobot, and one of the songs from the soundtrack. So you want to make sure you check him out at Darian Dauchan, DAUCHAN.com to find out and to stay in touch, and make sure you follow him and Brobot Johnson on YouTube, because the Brobot Johnson and the Brobot Johnson website is as phenomenal, interesting, colorful as the series itself. So welcome back, and thank you again for being here tonight. So I know we talked a lot about Brobot, the new adventures of Brobot Johnson. We talked about, excuse me, we talked about mixing medias and what the decisions you made to do all of this and why, the reason behind all that you do.
Right.
So tell us now, all right, because what I find from them, how do you stay creative doing so many things, or is just the way your mind works? Like, do you find sometimes you get lost in the business of it, or how do you stay creative to still write poetry, to still have time to act, to teach, to write and perform with the band, and then to do Brobot Johnson and all the other shows that you do? How do you have time to remain to stay creative? How does that work for you?
Well, I think one thing I'll say about the Brobot thing, this will be the last thing, and then I'll talk a little bit more broadly. For me, when I created Brobot, I was just messing around with like the Ableton software, because I knew that I wanted to create. I was interested in kind of doing my own, basically kind of creating my own album, in separation from the band, and kind of doing like my own kind of solo hip hop thing. And so once I started creating the beats, I was getting kind of like a robotic vibe to it, because a lot of it is, I didn't want to do a lot of samples because I was nervous about being sued and all that stuff. So I was using a lot of the internal software that was, a lot of the internal beats that was in the software. And so as I started creating the beats for that, then I was like, this kind of has like a robotic vibe to it. And so then I was thinking I might do like a kind of an instrumental album or whatever, like a Flying Lotus kind of thing. But then I then slowly just a story started to unfold, and I'd always been very kind of interested in the web series format. And so for me, the whole thing kind of unfolded that way. But to get to your to the other part of your question about how do I kind of stay at it creatively, I think that I've been on this path for so long that I actually really enjoy bouncing around from mediums in terms of, every now and then I'm able to do, I think I do maybe a play, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I can do maybe 2 or 3 plays, and I love being able to jump into doing a play, whether I'm doing it regionally. I've done a lot of work in California, and I was in Florida last year. And so I love being able to just kind of do acting plays. And usually when I'm in rehearsals for that, I'm working on my music. So I just feel like I'm in this place where I like being able to juggle a lot of things, and I've kind of been conditioned that way. And that is a large reason for that is because I think as artists, a lot of times things happen in waves, particularly like with the career. So you often have a lot of downtime when things are going well, and then you'll have a little bit of downtime. So I think the big question is, what are you doing in your downtime? And for me, my downtime is going into the lab, like I mentioned before, about creating beats or writing or doing whatever I can to stay creative. And when you're involved in a lot of different mediums like this, then it keeps you creative, whether that means me kicking a poem at an open mic or whatever it is. This is why I always tell young people, I was like, particularly like actors and things like that, it's like if you can do something else, you should, particularly on that downtime. So if you're funny, then you should try to do some stand-up or improv just to kind of stay on your toes. If you're into music,